Hello and welcome to Taboo Talk, the podcast brought to you by Boots that asks the seriously awkward health and wellness questions so you don't have to. I'm your host, Vogue Williams, and today we're talking about what it's like being a dad. It's a monumental life event, one that's filled with excitement, anticipation, and yes, a fair share of uncertainties. Yet despite the profound impact it has on individuals and families, there's often a veil of stereotypes and stigmas that can cast a grey cloud on your journey into fatherhood. Together with my incredible guests, we will break down these barriers and discover how they've redefined fatherhood on their own terms. I'm joined by my first guest, Ollie Locke. Ollie is a television personality and actor known for appearing in E4's reality series Made in Chelsea, Celebrity Big Brother and Celebrity Hunted. Ollie and his partner Gareth have recently welcomed two beautiful twins by surrogacy after 3 years of trying, with several heartbreaks along the way. We also have James Bai on the pod today. James is an actor and well known for his role as Martin Fowler in the long-running British soap opera EastEnders. James and his partner Victoria have 4 sons, with the youngest being baby Rufus, who they recently welcomed into the world after years of struggling to get pregnant again. They share insights about family life on Instagram at Life with the Bais. Well, first of all, huge congratulations to both of you. You look exhausted.
That's really kind, thanks. But it's true.
I assume she's talking to you, Ollie. So I feel very fresh.
We feel great.
So your babies are 17 weeks, yours 3 months.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, you really are in the thick of it. So how does it feel having an extra baby now for you? You're on baby 4.
Yeah, baby 4. So, I mean, it's honestly think this is probably, believe it or not, our easiest one because we do have the assistance of the older
Oh,
kids.
that's nice.
So
Free
they come in,
babysitters.
they jump in and help out when we need to put him down to, I don't know, clean or the other things you have to do in life. So yeah, they jump in and help. So that's been quite nice.
And Ollie, you jumped in at the deep end. You've twins.
That's true. Yeah, it's the first
You know
chance.
no difference.
Like, great. That's yeah. We didn't know any difference, and also you thought that's what everyone says to you. They're like, we don't know any difference. We do. There's 2.
Yeah.
Like there's 2 of
Really
everything.
hard.
Not even mentioning like packing up the car, like doing anything like that. Double fee, double cost. Everything is just a lot.
The double cost, like, because the full whack of that at the very start, double clothes, double everything. It must be mad.
Yeah, we were looking through schools the other day, and we're like, it's not too bad. And we're like, actually, it's double.
Yeah, double that.
Yeah,
And then when you think about flights and everything, I just say, God, that is a lot. And for 4, that's why I'm kind of like, would I have 4 kids? And then I booked flights last week and they were so expensive. I was like, is something wrong? Yeah. I'm flying EasyJet from Luton. What's happening here?
When you're taking up an entire row of a plane, then you know maybe now we need to start wearing condoms or something.
Yeah. You ever see that meme that's like, we all want to know what Kevin McAllister's dad did to take all those kids to Paris that time? It's genius.
Yes, it's so true. But a lot of people think that much of the parental role goes on the mother. How do you feel about that, Ollie? Obviously, you're 2 dads.
Yep.
So how do you navigate that? Who does what?
We kind of try and do everything we can at the same time, in sync. I'm definitely chief bottle washer. That's something that I, for some reason, got pushed towards, which is so boring because there's so many bottles a day. That's boring. But yeah, also the person going down in the morning saying, do you want to go and get the bottle? The person upstairs is actually on the worst part of it because there are 2 children screaming. And that's not ideal. So.
I know. I don't know which one I'd prefer. You need to get that bottle machine up by your bed.
It's not the worst shout, actually. I
don't
quite know what
any extra.
Buy another one
because you're too tired. And what about you? How do you and your partner share roles?
So at the moment, Victoria's breastfeeding. So she breastfed all the kids, and I have to say, life is quite easy for me in the first few months while she's breastfeeding. So I get to sleep as much as I can. I'm still in bed. I'm still in the same room. I'm not that out of order that I disappear and get a full night's sleep. I'm there in case she needs me. But yeah, so she'll breastfeed Rufus through the night. And
do you just sleep through that? I find that fascinating.
Listen, between us here and everyone watching, I don't sleep as well as obviously I did when he wasn't in the room. But I would never tell Victoria that because that is a conversation you just don't have with a mum that's been up all night breastfeeding.
I'm glad she won't find out.
I've slept fine. I'll take him. But yeah, no. So that
my husband would genuinely be there, dead asleep, and I'd look at him like, how is he sleeping through this? And he wouldn't wake up at all.
Yeah, but that's, Spencer knows what he's doing. You keep your eyes shut, and when you wait till it's proper, like in your ear screaming. When she holds the baby over your head, then you wake and go, "Oh, I didn't know you was awake."
Yeah.
Then I'll take him down in the mornings and try and get the rest of our troop of children ready for school and stuff, and try and let Victoria get at least an hour's sleep before the day starts.
Nice, but even an hour a block. Poor Ollie has had 2 hours sleep last night.
2 hours sleep.
You wouldn't look at him though. Gorgeous man.
Very kind.
You are beautiful.
I'm starting to feel that that's fading quickly. And I need to go. Certain doctors I need to go and see quite soon because it's been a while.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How do you feel though? Because you're 2 dads. So how does your parental roles work? Like, the way it's. I personally think that roles are changing a lot. That like there's no such defined role that the mother stays at home and minds the baby and the dad goes out and works. I think it's more interlinked now. How do you find it?
It is. Well, that's something, again, it's years ago when gay marriage got set as a precedent, and it was all very exciting and everyone was like, this is amazing. I feel that they gave us a slice of the pie, but not the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's a great start, but silly things like if we were in a 9-to-5 job, we would just get 2 weeks off each. So there isn't you don't get the year as a woman does or whatever like that.
Oh really?
No. So it's all it's a bit of an odd situation, and so it hasn't progressed in a way that it should do.
Yeah.
So how do you work that? Was one of you's got to be off fully?
No, we worked straight. We haven't stopped working at all.
Yeah.
Well, we immediately worked.
Wow, that's my ignorance. I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I took like 3 weeks because there's no maternity leave really in our job either.
Yeah, absolutely right.
But like, so that you guys just share it like equally?
Yeah, as much as we can, I think.
Yeah.
Like, he's got his own bits. He's kind of got a beer brand and other stuff. I've got other stuff that we do, and we've got a podcast and all that kind of stuff. So it's all, you kind of just keep going.
Yeah.
But you do that with a bit of help. And anyone that says, can I help just for a day? You go,
yes,
please, immediately.
Yeah.
We don't get many of those people asking us. When you've got 4 kids, people, they suddenly disappear.
I can understand that though, because my brother has 3 kids, and sometimes like I went home last time and I was like, they can come up for a play date, and they came up and I thought, oh my God, there's too many kids in my house. I don't think I can have them again.
Yeah.
I love them when they're in your house.
I know. I'm looking forward to Christmas. I think we've got about 8 children in our house this Christmas, so we're hosting for the first time, and that's going to be a big one.
Oh my God, you're hosting as well.
Silly idea. Yeah, but it's like that or packing up and going with the twins around the country.
Yeah.
So actually stay at home, people can come and see us, and then we can tell them when we need to.
Yeah, that's probably a bit worse. Now, there's a thing that women, when their baby's born, you feel like that they really bond with their baby. As a dad, how do you find bonding with a newborn? Because you just said your wife breastfeeds a lot. So I know my husband just felt like he kind of was pushed out of it because the baby's constantly with the mom.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, funnily enough, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's in the similar sort of age. They've just had a baby, similar age as Rufus. And he asked those questions, and it's their first, and he was like, what? And I was like, to be honest, the first 6 months, from my recollection before Rufus, it was like, the baby doesn't even really want you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I thought to myself, well, why is that? And obviously, because like Victoria breastfeeds, so like you say, that makes that instant bond. But we looked into that loads, and like we did skin to skin with me as well as soon as the baby was born, and made sure that was happening. But I feel like you do that when instantly the baby's born, and then I think certainly with Edward, my oldest, I didn't really do it again, and I was like, what? And then I thought, why not? Surely every moment you can, when you get out of the bath, put him on you, and I do that. And there was a moment recently where Rufus, so he's 3 months old now, and he just turned on me. He was like, I couldn't pick him up. He would scream every time I went near him. So he just wanted Victoria. And I was like, you just can't have that. Like, Victoria's got a life. She wants to get on with it. So I was like really militant, and I was like, no, like we are doing this, son, me and you. So I had the day. I was like, go and have a coffee, and I was just me and him, and I did everything I could. I was dancing around, like dressing up, everything I could to try and just get him to look at me and smile. Yeah. And it didn't happen day 1, but by about day 3, like he did start to sort of smile, and I could hold him and I could put him down, and so. It is work. I know it sounds silly, like you do have to put a bit of graft in sometimes, and it's frustrating. But yeah, I think and just be aware of it. That at the end of the day, babies probably aren't going to want, certainly in our situation, when you've got a mum that's breastfeeding, aren't going to want milk. I've got milk. I mean, I've got a pair of boobs, but I think he's quite aware that he's getting nothing from them.
They do give it a go.
Yeah, he tried. Yeah, but
they do. We get that quite a lot. I mean, our babies have never been breastfed. And yet, natural reaction from an animal is immediately they're trying to suckle on. And it's so interesting because we've got very few things in life that are still animalistic to humans. And yet that is one thing that they know from day one.
Yeah, they really do. How was your bonding journey? Because obviously you had your babies by a surrogate.
Yeah, so I suppose that's a different
What happens?
situation.
They just get because my friends had a baby via surrogate, and basically they just take the baby straight away, like the surrogate wasn't there, kind of thing.
Absolutely right. It almost, I know, horrible to say it now, but it's almost like Chandler and Monica when they got their babies. Suddenly they say goodbye to Erica, and Erica's is gone, and you're like, I'm not sure that's how adoption works anymore, but maybe it did back then. But surrogacy is a lot more like that. But ours were in NICU for 5 weeks.
Oh wow!
First of all in Durham, then Sunderland, then Chelsea Westminster. So for us, we were with them most of the time.
Yeah.
And so you are bonding, but it's a weird kind of bonding because someone else is looking after them most of the time because that's nappies and that's everything and that's their constant 24-hour need as a premature baby.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it was as soon as we got them home, we went then. Now we have to. I mean, we've been changing them through kind of what looks like an ET machine kind of thing, like hazmat suits almost. And so when you could do that with wires, I think you can change a nappy anywhere.
Yeah.
But you then go, okay, we're home. It's just us, and at that point, it's good. But they always say by 7 weeks, if it's a full-term baby, then they give you something back, and there's a smile. And there's something wonderful, and you go, by the time you want to walk out and leave your partner, you've finally got some resolve of some sort. That has not yet happened. So we've had the baby, they're 17 weeks old, and yet we haven't smiled or giggled or anything yet.
Because they were born 7 weeks early,
Absolutely.
Were they?
So they're probably only, 6 or 7 weeks old, theoretically, like whatever that would be in term. So that's, we're still waiting for that real
That
bond.
will happen. That's going to happen any day, that sort of thing. And it is a
as well.
It is a game changer.
I hope
Definitely.
so, because I'm ready to leave.
You can come and stay in my house. I have a spare room.
I'll come for a cuddle.
How did you find your emotional journey becoming a dad?
That is a question. Because
well, you went through because I remember we spoke on this pod, we did a different series that we spoke on when you were trying to get pregnant. And so you went through a really difficult journey to get pregnant. So like you've all that and then you become a dad. How did it feel when it finally happened?
It was amazing. It was incredible in lots of ways. I don't think it hit you immediately because I think we've been waiting for so long and you're like, well, this is it now. Like now you have them.
Yeah.
And you realise that life very much has changed.
Yeah.
But yeah, the surrogacy journey was hell.
Yeah.
That was our 4th round of IVF in the end.
4, wow.
Yeah. And it probably it cost us hundreds of thousands of pounds to do it. Because it's just the rules in Britain are so bad. We're not allowed to see the face of the egg donor. Still, at this point, we still don't know the face of the egg donor. Won't ever see it. Because
I remember you were going to get an egg donor. You showed me a picture of her. I was like, wow.
They didn't work.
I want her.
That's why it was really expensive. We had to go to America, then Mexico, then made them in Mexico. Then we couldn't fly them back to England, the embryos, because we had seen the egg donor's face. So we had to fly them to Cyprus because that's legal out there. And then none of those embryos worked. And we ended up back in London, which is the old rules that you're not allowed to see the egg donor's face.
So do you know any of the history of the egg donor or no?
Literally eye colour, hair colour, what she did as a degree, and a little statement from her, basically.
Wow.
So there's not an awful lot we know. However, they seem pretty cute at the moment.
I think she's hot.
I think she's hot. I must admit, I did actually say, they say, okay, what are you looking for as an egg donor? They say, are you looking for someone that looks just like your... I said, without sounding like a knob, I was like, all I want is someone really beautiful. I was like, we can teach them the rest. I was like, but it does help life being pretty. And I was like, I want them to go first, really give it a go. That's what you would do. If you go into a bar, you're not going to be like, oh yeah, they're unattractive, I'll make sure I mate with them.
Yeah,
no.
If you're choosing, I suppose, I remember because I did a TV show and we were over in a sperm bank and they were like, choose your ideal sperm. And I'm like, 6'4", green eyes. And poor Spenny, he's not 6'4".
It's Spenny and me, I think. Yeah.
I chose a different man. How was your journey, James? Because you had a tougher time trying to get pregnant the 4th time.
Yeah. So the fourth time was tough because so with the first one, I wasn't an actor, but I was an out of work actor.
Yeah.
We were skint, the pair of us, and I was scaffolding, I think, to earn some money. And then I came home from work and she was like, pregnant. And it wasn't a surprise. We were like, shall we try? But didn't think it was going to happen that quickly. I think it happened like literally the next month we were pregnant. And so that was a massive shock. So then I had to go and get a real job. So then I ended up going selling. I was as a sales rep selling shampoo. So I was driving around. Honestly, I was driving around what do you call them? Hairdressers in Manchester selling shampoo because they gave you like sick pay and maternity pay, and I was like, I've never had that before, so I had to sort of get this real job, and then, but I'd say like emotionally, like I was cold, as a southern lad from London, I was pretty closed off. As soon as he was born, the gates opened and I was crying at everything, and I swear like that really helped my acting. That's awful. I don't think I've ever been able to cry.
It's emotional memory.
Exactly. I was just like, just remember the day he was born. And now, honestly, I'm terrible. Victoria's watching telly and I'm like, and it's an advert for like Colgate where the mum's brushing the kids' teeth for the first time. So that was changed. And then obviously we were really, really lucky, like with the second and third with Louis and Hugo, we didn't have any problems, similar sort of thing. We just got pregnant quite quickly. And then with Rufus, we had 2 miscarriages, which were quite close together. And we were sort of umming and ahhing whether maybe this is the right decision. Is it a sign? Should we not? Should we stop? And then we did Strictly. And then I got the job on Strictly. I started doing Strictly, and we sort of stopped. We were like, do you know what? Let's just focus on this. And Victoria had started like her own little business, and that was going really well. So we were like, now it's not the time. I think I was 3 weeks into Strictly, and she sat me down, and I didn't know what she was going to say. I thought she was going to be there. Are you having an affair with your dancer? I thought it was going to be that.
Thank God she didn't ask.
And I was like, and then she was like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, what's that now? You're like this. I mean, don't get me wrong. We were like over the moon, but we were both looking at each other like, what? This is crazy. And of course, because we'd had those miscarriages, the first few first few months are really sort of stressful because you just don't know, like, she'll have a pain and you're like, are we going to lose it again? Are we going to lose another one? And so they were really, really tough first few months. And then obviously, you sort of go through the milestones, and you get to was it 3 months, and then you're like, and then you get to the next, and then he was born. So then it was like, but it was an emotional journey. I think that's something that we weren't prepared for, but you just sort of come together in those times, and I think that's when you realise you're with the right person, when you go through something as intense and as emotional as that, and then realise that
such a stressful and upsetting time as well. And same for you. Like that was a really tough, arduous road.
A horrible journey. It really is. But again, weirdly, we've kind of opened our minds slightly to be able to talk about this, because I feel that we've kind of got a doctorate in fertility and infertility over the last 3 years, which has been amazing, because we are lucky enough to have this community online, which is where I always send people. It sounds silly, but don't underestimate Instagram. There's a lot of horribleness there, but there's a lot of people that want to help and want to give you advice if there's something that you're going through. And I always, if anyone reaches out to me and says, I'm struggling with this, when it comes to surrogacy, I will always answer.
Oh, I love that.
Because it's important.
Surrogacy over here is so difficult, as you were saying as well. It's not like being in America. It's just, it's wild how nothing has really changed.
Yeah, even between genders as well. Even between sexes, you can't, there's indifference and inequality between that. You can't. So, we're not allowed to see the egg donor's face, but women are allowed to see sperm donor's face. Basic stuff that just doesn't make any sense. Gareth and I have to go to... Gareth's not on the birth certificate because theoretically she's the mother. And if she was married, which she's not, the surrogate, it would be his surname would be the kid's legal surname, even though he's not biologically related at all, and he'd be on the birth certificate, until we have to, in a couple of weeks' time, go to the Royal Courts of Justice, go to the High Court, and adopt our own children.
What?
So, and so then we have to, then the original birth certificate gets ripped up, and it's a high judge that will sit there and say whether we are or not. I mean, we are. There's never a situation where it hasn't been, but there's been tricky bits, yeah, certainly.
So your journey's still ongoing.
Still ongoing, yeah. And that's just to have our names on the birth certificate.
Yeah, that's wild. How are you finding, though, your responsibilities? You were saying, obviously, your life changes when you become a parent, and it really does. How are you finding, like, how did you find it when you had your first child? You'd no job. How did you find your responsibilities as a dad? Did you just, like, embrace them, or did you find it really difficult?
Both. I think you just have to jump in, and Victoria was a brilliant mum in the sense that she kind of let me do it and let me make mistakes. You know what I mean? Like simple things like changing a nappy. I mean, you'll know, you peel it back the first time and you're like, right, just whip it off straight away. Let's get a new one. And of course, the minute you take that nappy away, it's like everything comes out. And, and I'm cupping it. I'm like, oh, nature's nappy right there. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. And it's in the face, and you're just like, and so yeah, and I love that about her, that she let me make those mistakes. And listen, there's so much stuff that you've got to remember, but ultimately, I think you're in it together. You make the mistakes together. You know, you enjoy your successes together, and tomorrow's another day and it starts again. And and that's how we've done it with all of them. And I don't know, they all seem to be.
I did look down a second ago, and I was like, I didn't have anything like that. I had tuna and a baked potato for lunch, and I was like, that could well be crap. I was like, could well be.
Ollie is smelling strange.
I'm not. Yeah,
there's nothing like when you do the school drop, and you're like, what is that smell? And you've got shit on you. Oh, you've got poo in your ear. You know what I mean? Oh, come on, man.
I mean, but you're immune to it. I've become slightly immune to it even this time.
I know, but you're sick on you and everything. That's just the way it is.
I'm not worried about sick at all anymore. That's
no.
Apart from we're on goat's formula, so it really does stink. It's really horrible. We tried it the other day. We were like,
I just think milk in general reeks.
It's just not very nice.
It does. Becoming a parent it can be a really emotional journey. How are you finding your emotions? You were saying today you've only had 2 hours sleep, that you had a little cry today. I think you need to.
I don't even think it's a little cry.
It was quite a long cry. I think it was trying to be nice.
It was a good, I reckon, 45 minutes, and I was holding my daughter's head. This is absolutely true, but this is the reality of it. Everyone out there understands this. You sit there and you're like, for some reason, I am so emotional. Again, don't get onto the advert situation, because it's something like if Parkinson comes on and talks about life insurance adverts, I'm a mess. That would be a situation, because automatically becoming a parent is something that just changes, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't want anything to happen to you. You're just heaven, but also you're driving me mad. Like, absolutely. I can't hate you and love you enough in that one moment. And it's just.
I am loving the honesty
here.
It's
true.
But I think, like, the tears, and like you say, you do get frustrated. And, I'm sure mums do as well, but you do get frustrated because you're like, all I'm trying to do is help you.
Yeah.
You are crying, and you have been for a while. Let's work together here. Yeah. I'll get that nappy changed, and you'll be sweet. But you're right. I think you do have to cry, because that's the release, and then you go, I feel better now, or whatever it is. We'll walk out into the garden and just shout to them, or whatever. Because those first few months, they are
They're so hard. They are so hard. No one really tells you. Like, I remember when we had our baby, I thought, my God, my mom did so much for me. Like, she really did. I didn't think she did that much. Some women struggle with postpartum depression. And some people say that men wouldn't, or the dads don't. How do you feel about that?
I think
has it affected either of you?
Again, I think with women evidently go through a lot more than we do. Not only, I mean, you guys have ridden the dragon for a while, but the hormone levels go up and down in such a huge way. Even during our surrogacy journey, our surrogate was sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not speaking to her today. She is in a foul mood, and I'm like, and then her boyfriend texts me and was literally like, yeah, you don't have to live with it. And I'm like, okay, sending flowers your way. I love you. Please keep. But yes, I think we have had moments absolutely in the struggles of having a relationship as well, and we all know that it's not the easiest thing. Once you have, we never argued really before we had a baby or two, and we're arguing more than ever, which is just meaning that we need to spend more time together, just us.
Yeah, that's always something that you say. You're like, we need to spend more time together, and then like doing it is.
And then you've got nothing to talk about when you do, because you're only with each other. And you're like,
and you're having dinner and you're like walloping it like this, because and you're like, why are we rushing? We've got someone watching the baby. Like, let's just enjoy our meal. I find doing that all the time. Oh,
we went out for dinner recently, and we left the restaurant after like 35 minutes. The manager ran in after us, and he was like, "Is everything okay?" We were like, "Yeah." He thought there was something wrong with our meal. We were like, "We just have to get home." It was lovely. What about you? How do you feel about postpartum depression for men?
I mean, again, I feel very fortunate that I've not dealt with it personally, but I think, like I was saying earlier, that the closest I've come to it is probably that feeling of the baby's not wanting me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like going, come on, mate. We're going to be best pals. Hello. But apart from that, I think it's, again, very fortunate that my wife lets me do a lot. I think we've got friends that the mum becomes a bit controlling. They're like, you haven't put the nappy on properly, or well, you've not done this right, or you've not got the copper popper. You know,
copper popper. That's
I know.
exactly
Yeah.
You
Get the zips. Get the zips.
I do the copper popper, mate. Once, I tell you, when that came along, it changed.
So clever.
So simple.
So I am lucky, and I think that helped as much as I think some of my dads are like, look, James has got to go and do the change, and whereas they get away with it. But I'm like, I do know what you're saying. Like, my life is probably a bit harder because I am so involved. Yeah. But that's how I want it. I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have children to not want to be involved in those moments. Don't get me wrong, I love the dancing about and all that, but I think actually being involved and bathing them and things like that. I'm quite looking forward to when Victoria's done with the breastfeeding. I don't mind a feed. I feel like it is really bonding to sit there and watch the sport and have them. Yeah. So I am looking forward to that.
I feel like the roles have changed, as we were saying earlier. Like, everyone just has to chip in. How do you manage? I love this question when it's not directed at me, so it's for you. How do you balance it? You work. How do you do your social life? Look after the kids. How is it working for you?
Well, social life is relatively non-existent. And we've accepted that. And to be honest with you, I'm not even that bothered about it. You know what I mean? I'm quite happy sitting in box setting it up. Yeah. With 3 bottles of wine and. But work. Obviously, I'm still filming. So, we're very fortunate.
Work now feels like a day off,
doesn't it?
Yes.
don't. Let's not break that secret. Yeah, no, absolutely. Going to work is definitely a break. Yeah. And but we've got help. So Victoria's parents live like really close, and that's good. New. So they're from Manchester. So they've moved down. I think they've realised. Yeah. I think because now we've got 4. We are outnumbered, and they bless them. They do help out a lot, and that is a game changer for us. So that's a huge help, and that allows me to go to work. So
yeah, I know, lovely.
I need to try, and I have to go to the pub every now and then. I know that sounds really silly, but this is something I can't go from going out 5 nights a week or whatever like that with social stuff and dinners and all that kind of stuff to immediate cold turkey. That is when you will get the problems, I think. Yeah. And I'm a night owl, completely, always have been.
Oh, really?
Very much so. So not nightclubs, but I do like going to a bar and sitting there and talking to my problems, kind of while they clean the dishes, clean the glasses, and then slide me a drink. Show me, it's one of those things. But I do every now and then have to do that, and that's kind of once a week. Gareth has his time at home without me driving him mad, and yet I can go to the pub and come home at a reasonable hour. But
well, you have to, because you're too scared to come home at like 4 a.m. Well, that's your whole week ruined.
I would be ruined.
It's petrifying. How did you handle the sleepless nights? Like today, how are you? What have you had on today? You've had 2 hours sleep. How did you get through today? I'm surprised you didn't cancel on us.
That was. I was fine, but I know you just have. Again, we've all been in this industry for a while. Yeah. Like, this is something that you need to do. You crack on. Yeah. Like, I always think. I know this sounds really silly, and I'm not comparing myself to her or anything. But
I can't wait for this.
Yeah.
When Katy Perry broke up with Russell Brand, and she's there in the documentary, and she's sitting there like crying, and suddenly she comes through, and she's like, "Way!" It's one of those things. I'll be crying in a cab home. I really want. 45 minutes can turn into like an hour and a half of tears, because that is it's like you get your little high, and then I'll go back. But again, this is human. This is human stuff, and it's hard work, but you just do it. But yes, in our entertainment world, you've kind of got to keep a smile on. You have to switch it on.
And what about, do you nap or anything like that? Do you kind of like, I always said to my husband, I was like, why don't you go sleep in a different room, because I have to wake up anyway. There's no
I've
point
said that
to
to husband
us.
a few times.
Go. But I feel like, so you stay there. I was happy he did stay, because like I find it lonely at night when you're breastfeeding on your own. But like, how do you deal with sleepless nights and having to get up and remember lines? How do you remember stuff?
I mean, I've been doing it a long time, so I just don't think it's just automatic pilot in a way, like for me, learning lines. And
so you could be really tired and still remember.
Yeah, and like you say, work's a break, so I can get there and we tend to have breaks when we're filming, so I can have a little half hour and catch up where I need to. But I mean, I feel like I've over-egged the pudding with the I don't sleep. Don't get me wrong, I'm getting 6-7 hours.
But that's lovely.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm
Ollie,
doing all right. That's lovely. I mustn't. I shouldn't have said it, should I?
I've got a night nanny tonight. I do have a night nanny tonight.
Oh, lovely.
On the way here, I was like, we are doing it. I was like, I need sleep. I was like, I've got to do something really busy tomorrow.
But in all honesty, like sleep deprivation is the thing. I think ultimately, you've got children.
Causes arguments though as well.
That is what it is. It's sleep deprivation. It's trying to function on a couple of hours sleep, and not just on one day, but like we're talking months and months of it. Like I think me and Victoria's having this conversation the other day. I don't think she's had a full night's sleep. Well, she hasn't since he's been born. I mean,
how 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. 10 years of like no. But I mean. So
it is 7 months though, at least 7 months of like, well, like they'll only wake up once in a while, and like if they wake up once, you're just like, oh my God, that was the most amazing thing in the world. It will happen for you. It's going to happen soon.
It will. Everyone that's gone through this journey understands it, I think, and it's just we're just in that mad position that it is in that world, and it being our first, there's been a lot of revelations, and
your
that's
first
what you
with
learn.
2 as well. Oh.
Yeah. But hopefully, when they are in their own room, and hopefully one wakes up, the other might cuddle him.
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
Well, even being in their own room, when they're in their own room, you're like, wow, you were actually really loud and noisy, and it's like they take their grunts to another room. But with your romantic relationships, how do you keep them kind of on track when you both have newborns? How are you doing it?
That's a great
I don't think we do. I mean, we went to Farmhouse last week and absolutely nothing happened. I tell you what, I was like, we've got ourselves a lovely cabin, really excited about it. Nope, nothing.
Just
outside shower. Nope,
sleep is
outside
sexier.
bath. No. Yeah, sleep is far more attractive.
Sleep is the new
So
sex.
you read you ball book and I'll read.
Yeah,
honestly.
No, so I mean, he's still in our room, so they're like, of an evening, we're done, like, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
I'm not even talking about, your sex life. I'm not even talking about that. I'm
romance.
just talking about.
Well, we went straight in the deep end.
Yeah, boys. God. They had So how is your romance? Like, how is your relationship? Is it like I just always found that we were snappier with each other at the start because you're so tired and you're trying to just remember, okay, it's a fleeting moment. I'm not actually annoyed. How do you stay together as a team, basically going through something really difficult?
Yeah, we made our mistakes with the first couple, so we used to be like that, with
the first couple.
With the first couple of kids, we used to argue all the time, and we were like, what are we even meant to be together type stuff? And I think, you learn from experience, didn't you? And now we've completely understood that the only reason we're going at each other is sleep deprivation, or the kids are get on your nerves, whatever. So we're very forgiving now. Like, our forgiving tolerances are quite high. So if she comes in and just has a meltdown at me for no reason, I'm not going to take it personally and storm out. No, I'm just like, okay, let
You're obviously really grumpy.
We'll run the garden a couple of times, we'll come back, and then we're fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's really helped, and just being far more understanding, and ultimately we're in it together, aren't we? Like, I need her probably more than she needs me in that sense. So I don't want her having a bad day, because it's going to mean I've got more to do. So I need her on side.
You need her to sleep a bit. Ollie, we've spoken a bit about your journey, so there's lots of questions here I want to ask you. But you did open up about the challenging laws around surrogacy, but also the cost. Like, how expensive is it for somebody to have a baby via surrogacy?
If you are and this is why I will be starting to champion and reform this soon, and I have been doing so, is that if you're a low-income gay male family in Britain, wanting to become a family in Britain today, and Ireland, you would not be able to do it. Basically, you couldn't do it. So I know someone that they could afford the eggs. They could afford the eggs, which is probably 6 or 7 grand if you go through the London Egg Bank, which is, we did it in America, it was about 45.
Wow. 45 grand?
Yeah, because you chose which one you wanted for the eggs alone, which didn't work.
How many eggs do you get?
We started with 21, ended up at 5 after they developed and got to blastocyst. However, there is no way you could do it. So friends of ours have actually used the grandmother of that child, that baby. So the mother of the person. So so you're allowed to.
Their mom got pregnant for them.
Got pregnant for them. Yeah.
What age was the mom?
52, which is the cutoff. You're not allowed to do it after 52. But they used their mum because that's the only way they could do it, to not have that up to 20,000 pound expenses.
Like they used the other mum though, not his mum.
They used it was a gay couple, and they used one of their mums.
Oh wow!
To carry, so she carried her own grandchild.
So wow. 6 or 7 grand though, that's just for the eggs. Then minimum. How much would you have to pay a surrogate if you were to? You'd have to leave the country to pay a surrogate.
So in America, it would probably be 100, 150 grand to do that.
Wow.
If you are doing it in Britain, it's up to £20,000 expenses.
So your friend did it for you?
Yes.
Wow, that's
our
amazing.
friend Bex did it for us. But we only got to know her through Instagram.
Really?
Like, we didn't know. She reached out after watching Chelsea and then she became a really good friend. And in that 6 months that we spent together, we went, okay. And then she offered, and we were like, yeah, let's do it.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Because in America, isn't there like websites?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can just...
It's a transaction.
Well, if people are getting 150 grand, like that's a huge amount of money. Do you think there's a stigma around people using surrogates?
Yeah, of course there is.
Do you?
Oh my God, some of the things I've been called on Instagram and stuff like that is fascinating.
Like what?
One of the most popular ones is a human trafficker. And I don't quite know how I'm doing that, but apparently that's what we're doing with
people are insane.
It's like insane. It's just like
a human trafficker.
I know, it's completely insane. But there's so many things that you get called because.
Do you think as well because you're same sex though that people have more of a stigma around it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that you're using that woman and basically forcing her to do it. Well, it doesn't work like that because in Britain you have to offer yourself to do it.
Yeah.
You can't solicit, etc. So again, she came to us and asked us to do it because she wanted to do it. And there are people out there that want to do it for other people. They enjoy being pregnant. They love the process. They want to help someone else.
Yeah.
And you have had to have had children before to go through that process. So it's not that.
Oh, so she's had children.
So she's had 2 before, yeah. And
wow,
so it's that kind
amazing.
of detached thing. So you don't have to, it's not too much of a worry. But it's a whole rabbit hole of this.
So like I knew people though that like went to, they had their embryos in Ukraine, and then the war happened and the embryos moved to all of these different places. They've had the baby now, but literally the embryos went everywhere. It's just because of the laws in Ireland as well.
Absolutely.
This is wild. Your dad shamed because you couldn't tell your twins apart.
Only for a minute. I literally, honestly, I'm so used to
babies all look the same anyway.
they're twins. They're very similar. I know they're boy and girl, but they do have the same shaped head, and that's something that it's not a problem. But I did it. I was on camera and I said, "Well, she's looking wonderful at the moment." Whatever they're like, "This is he," and I was like, and then I went back. 3 minutes later, I said, "Well, it's all right. I'll take him then." Well, that's her, and I was like, "Oh God!" It made the edit shockingly, but it's true. I didn't know. I didn't. Yeah, you often you're tired.
Forgiven for that. I mean, if I get shown a picture of one of my, when they were young, I go, "Oh, look at Edwin." My wife would be like, "That's Rufus." You know.
Yeah.
They all look the same. Like, I don't know. Maybe
especially twins, same age,
exactly.
and you're knackered.
You can't be shamed for that. You know what I mean?
They're the same
people
size.
so people actually shamed you about that.
Yeah, grow up. It's just one of those things that's a bit like, come on, like
poor Ollie, the human trafficker.
I know, right? Great.
Oh my God! But you went through such a massive journey. Like it was years and years. Like I can remember sitting in here, over there talking about it.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you finally got to hold them in your arms? And a boy and a girl, by the way. I'm thrilled for you.
Honestly, it's a lot, and I can't wait for holidays in the future when we can all kind of be in the same room and all the kids can meet each other. It'd be really sweet. But after all of our journeys together that we've had, me and Vogue have known each other for an awfully long time.
Yeah.
And me and Spencer even longer.
Yeah.
So it is weird.
Imagine our kids throwing sand at each other. That'll happen soon.
That'll happen. Yeah. Mummy. Yeah. You did it to my child.
Yeah.
Amazing. But yes, it's been wild adventure. Holding those babies for the first time was extraordinary, and at the time I was doing this YouTube stuff, so basically I was recording, and I wanted to, the first time I ever touched my babies, I wanted to put it on camera, so I held my phone and I just saw my fingers shaking, and I was like, this is the first time I'm ever touching this human that is yours and you've created. And for me, that was just magical. And they were in NICU for a long time, and every day. And this is something amazing about NICU, actually. To intensive care, if anyone doesn't know. Basically, it's all the intensive care for kids. But you walk in there, and there's everyone from different worlds. You've got every different religion. You've got every different... from every part of the world. And as soon as you walk through those doors, no one cares about any of that. And they only care about you and everyone else as child surviving and thriving. And so opposite us, there was a lady in a hijab. And then there was a very hardcore lady next to us, or whatever like that. And we all became friends. And where in society's eyes, that might not have worked. Yeah. It worked beautifully. And we were a gay couple. And it just, all of us just looked after each other like you would do in any other thing. So actually, all got dropped at the door, which I thought was absolutely extraordinary. Something I really took from NICU.
How did you find, though, like, what was the most challenging thing becoming a new dad? Especially to twins and to premature twins that were in NICU.
The phone call at 4:30 in the morning after they were born to say that he is not doing very well and he was rushed from Durham to Sunderland, blue lit, because he wasn't breathing, was one of those moments of life that you never want that phone call. He's a stubborn little bugger, and it was actually, he's always been like this. From day one, from that moment, he is the laziest boy in the world. And he got to Sunderland, and the tube was put down his throat and into his lungs, and he looked and was like, no thanks very much, ripped it out and breathed normally, because he was like, no, I prefer it the normal way. And he's always been like that. He's a real pain in the arse. I love him, but she's really chilled, he's really hard work. But that was the hardest moment of one of the hardest moments of my life, that phone call, because at that point you don't know what's going to happen, and that's the last thing you ever want to hear is about.
Super scary. For you, James, you were trying for 3 years before you had your fourth baby. 4 boys.
That's crazy.
And boys are more difficult than girls, I find.
So?
Yeah.
Ooh, no one says that.
Well, I've got nothing to compare it to, but yeah.
You're just going through a tough time.
Yeah.
How was going through that whole process, like fertility?
We did go and see fertility doctors, and if there was something that maybe that has changed with me or Victoria, and that's when we got pregnant twice, and we were like, oh, that's amazing, and unfortunately lost them. And then like I said, we didn't give up. It wasn't that we shut the door on the idea of having another baby.
Just relaxed.
It was just like the way that life was going, we were both getting very busy, and maybe, even if someone said, oh, you can have a baby, maybe we would have said, maybe now's not the time. Yeah. And such is life. Then of course that's the moment that you do have a baby, and that, so that's sort of the way it was. I think a lot of people think that we were chasing the girl.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because we had 3 boys, and was like, oh, you're going to try for a girl. And there probably is a part of us that we both would have wanted a girl. Yeah. But that's not why we did it. Do you know what I mean? It's a weird one. And I mean, listen, we were mad to do it because all of our kids were out of nappies. They were all coming down in the mornings, feeding themselves.
You'd gotten rid of the buggies.
We were there. We were done. We could go away, for a weekend and leave them with the grandparents. Our life was sweet. Yeah. And then we decided to have another one, and now we're back. We're back in it. We're right.
That's what my concern is. I don't want to go too far away from it. Otherwise,
exactly.
I
think 4 years probably was that year too far, because we'd seen the light. We were free.
It's dark again.
And now we're in the dark. Yeah. But we love doing it, and that's why we had another one. But yeah. It's so hard.
Full on. So hard. How do you divide your time between 4 kids?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, it's an ongoing challenge, because my eldest has got to that point now where he wants to be a professional sportsman. He doesn't know what he wants to be a sportsman in, whether it's football or tennis, but he's like, he watches these guys on telly and he thinks this is me. This is,
Yeah.
And be thankful it's not Love Island they wanted to be on. You got off lightly, I think.
Exactly. But he wants me to go out and play football with him in the garden or at tennis or whatever. So that's hard, especially when then Victoria's like, oh, babe, can you just have Rufus while I go and have a bath?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then Ed was like, oh, you don't want to come out and play football with me. And so it is finding those moments. So what we do now is I have one-on-one time with them. I make sure they know, right, tomorrow night, me and you, we're going to the cinema, or me and you are going to go into London for the day, or...
you can't do it weekly, but at least you can make an effort to try and do it just the odd time.
Absolutely. And then when you've done it, make sure that you remind them that you've done that for a good couple of weeks. Do you remember the other day when I took you out there and we spent that amazing time together? Just remind them. So it is like, it's 4 kids. It's hard. It is hard. The great thing with Rufus is I can give him to Nan or Mum, and then I've only got 3 to mess around with. But yeah, I haven't got long before.
3 at an easier age as well.
Yeah.
With Rufus, though, his birth was quite stressful, was it?
Yeah. So I don't know what it is, but people say that the more pregnancies you have, the easier they become, or certainly the shorter they become. We were the opposite.
Oh.
Edward, who's our eldest, was the quickest one. Then it got longer. The next one was even longer.
That's really unusual.
Yeah, really
that isn't
weird.
meant to happen.
I know it's not meant to happen. Yeah, I thought you're supposed to sneeze and like the fourth one come out, but no. So with Rufus, it was like went into she had to be induced. Actually, I mean, fourth baby she had to be induced. That's like it's not heard of very often. And it was a long labour. It was very stressful. Bless Victoria. She got to the point where she just said, "Can I have the epidural?" Because it was.
Oh yeah.
So she had an epidural, which then they had to take out and reroute because they got it wrong. She's had wires. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I was an absolute mess. The midwife was like, "You need to go out of the room because you're not helping." I was on the floor, like, I just could see Victoria. She looked like something out of a horror film. She had wires coming. She couldn't even turn around. You know, when she was having the contractions and she sort of felt it the best position to get on her hands and knees and lean over. But she couldn't turn around because she was like, "Oh, that's catching here," and on the drip there and on, you know, all the monitors they put on. And so I was a mess. Like, I went out of the room and then he was born, and he was born really quickly. And there's one thing Victoria can do, she can push a baby out quick. So when it was time to go, he was out in 2 pushes, which I don't think they recommend. I think they try and tell you to go with the contraction. So when the contractions come in, you try and fight it and let the body push it out. Am I right? So this is what the midwife was saying about. She was like, sod that, and just pushed him out. He was out in 2.
Wow.
Which was amazing. So I was like, here he is, and he was away, and he didn't cry, but he was pink, and I was like, oh, this is perfect, my son's here. And then very quickly he went grey.
Oh.
And I'm looking at Victoria, what's going on here? And the junior midwife who was there was going, I'm not entirely happy about this, called the other midwife back in, because she'd gone off to get the towel. She was like, oh, all right, he's fine.
Yeah.
And he just stopped breathing. And like there, still attached to the cord. And I've cut all their cords, so it's my thing. I cut the cord.
Yeah.
And she was like, are you going to do this? This midwife shouting at me to cut the cord, and then she was like, hit that emergency button now. And you know, when you're like,
oh God,
30 seconds ago you'd walked off to get the towels, you can't do this, like you can't just change your mind. And now he's in, so I smashed the button. And look, I can't praise the NHS enough, but 15 doctors were in that room within about 3 seconds, and I'm not even exaggerating. They were just bang in that room, had him on the little bed that's all warm. And you know, I was an absolute. I mean, Victoria, bless her, she was in shock, but she was holding it together. She was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, I did not help the situation. I apologised to all the midwives in the room at that time. There was some language. Anyway, I went over and like I say, the NHS is just incredible. And within, it felt like an hour, but I think within about 30 seconds he was coughing and breathing again. But yeah, so that was not, I mean, for our 4th baby, you think, hang on, come on, we've done this for, you can't do this now. You can't bring it in now. Surely we've done all the hard stuff, but...
Well, I think you need to speak to Darren Little or Rory or whatever and be like, I think we need to write something, writers of EastEnders who work with us a bit, and be like, I think it's important, you create this for emotional memory, and you've got, there's a BAFTA there waiting for you.
Ready to go. I'm not
You're
sure
ready.
I'm not sure I want to read imagine. I'd probably have a breakdown.
You're a dad to 4 kids.
Yeah.
Have you any advice that you'd like to even impart on Ollie as a new dad?
From the sounds of it, Ollie sounds like he's an incredible dad already. Like, I just think, look, you're gonna, like, we've had this chat. The normal stuff, you're gonna make mistakes, nappies, putting the wrong outfit on, blah, blah, whatever. You know, like maybe the milk's a bit hot, like all that stuff. Like, it genuinely doesn't matter. Like, no one has ever grown up and gone to therapy because they've had too much love. Do you know what I mean? And I just think if you can shower your kids in love, yes, you're going to make mistakes, but like I said, tomorrow's another day. We start again. Do you know what I mean? And I think if you can just do that, mate, you're smashing it already. Like, you've been through so much, and I can tell that you love these kids, you know, within an inch of their life. So that's it, done.
Yeah.
I don't honestly think parenting is that.
Yeah.
Just love, and that's it. Everything else will fall into place if you can do that.
100%.
I think that's a really lovely thing to say, and I've never even heard that before, and I think that's really beautiful. It's a really lovely thing to say. I think people need to open their minds as well sometimes, and some people, not everyone obviously, goodness me, but when it comes to same-sex couples, we fought so hard to try and have these babies. It's not on a whim. All we want to do is give these babies the best life that you could ever give, because going through 3.5 years of this, going through all the stress, the finances, the everything, and it just so happens that I'm 36, I'm how I feel the right age, the right time to be a parent now.
Yeah.
And yet just so happens with legalities and everything landed in those however many million years that humanity's been around, kind of thing, thousands of years. And yet we're at the right position legally and that we can be parents. So we're actually incredibly lucky that we get an opportunity to do that, for starters.
Would you have any advice for new dads? You're a dad of twins.
Yeah. Wow. There's a couple of machines that are really good, I must admit, and that's just make your life as easy as possible by going to buy the milk machine. Sometimes they're expensive, but like just do it. Buy the
milk machine is good.
What I would say, don't go and buy loads of new clothes for the first 6 months. Just be in baby grows, because they are.
I love a little white baby grow on a baby.
Yeah. It's really, really sweet. It's lovely, but I hate dressing them up at the moment because they're.
Excuse me, you were shopping before they arrived in Portugal. When I bumped into him, he was like, I found this brand. I was like, wow, that's an expensive brand he's found.
I mean, it's fabulous and they look very cute and they're wonderful on hangers in their room. But I tell you what, they'll wear them once and that's it. And but I know a lot of them's gone away to charity this week. However, the rest, all the really special stuff's being made into a patchwork quilt for both of them for when they're older, and I think that's really cute, really lovely.
That's very cute.
All the special things that they have worn, photos of them in, stuff like that, and that could be at the end of their beds forever.
Yeah,
I've got a tip for you.
Yeah,
this is a brilliant tip. If you're fortunate enough to have a washing line in the garden or somewhere where you can get outside space, you know when they do the yellow poo and it goes up the back, and you think, well, that's that baby go done, and you throw it away or whatever because you just cannot get that yellow poo out, can you? Yes, you can. Wash it normally and make sure it's in the sunlight.
Really?
Yeah, 100% sunlight destroys that milky poo. There's a massive tip for you, and that will save you a fortune on baby grows.
It was. I've lost a few to that now.
Yeah.
Yellow poo. What would you say are your most rewarding moments as a dad? That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Lots.
For me, I don't know if it's like the male thing, but like I love seeing the kids do something on their own that I've taught them.
Yeah.
You know what? Seeing them do it and go
profanities.
Yeah, exactly. Running around naked like that. But like, so Hugo, who's my third, he is obsessed with cooking, and I love cooking. So whenever I'm doing anything, he runs in, puts his little pinny on. He's like, I want to help. And so I've taught him like to do some like just make basic pancakes. And I came down the other day and
the 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I mean. So he's there, he's got the bowls out, he's got all the ingredients ready to go. And the eldest one is teaching him and he's, Dad, how many grams of flour is it? And I'm like, I kind of like, you know what I mean? It sort of made me go, I taught you how to do that. You know what I mean? So I think just something as simple as that for me, it makes me like.
I don't have huge amounts of them yet. However, there is something that I really.
Your
like.
Twins are 3 months. That's fair. 17 weeks. That's fair enough.
But when they are crying, and sometimes we have them, like put them in my bed.
Yeah.
And if they're on top of me or whatever like that, and on my chest, or just to the side of me, and they're asleep, and I know that they could smell us around them, and they know. I don't know if ours is comfier, but well, I hope it is comfier than that. Like, there's like a normal one. Like ours is a probably one. But. They, you know what I mean? But they fall asleep and they just sit there and they're really happy, and I'm like, that's joy. And that's something that we look forward to. Is that kind of we're now a family in the bed, and then the dogs jump up and suddenly you're like, it's Christmas morning every morning. Yeah,
I love that. I do love that. Is there any concerns or fears that you have?
Yeah, a lot. Like a lot. Like this is it. We don't know what we're doing. Like we can try everything you can, but you've got as new parents, we're trying to do everything right. But yes,
I feel like the worry as a parent, like I'm always worried. I'm worried. Like I'm like, what's he doing in school? And like, do they look after him? He's not going to go out there. And like, I can't help it. It's just the worry, I think.
Yeah, I remember with Edward when he was probably about 2, and he's gone on the climbing frame. And I always pride myself on being quite relaxed and a chilled out fella.
Yeah.
And since having kids, seeing him like on this climbing frame, suddenly this inanimate object became my nemesis. Do you know what I mean? I was like, and he went down the slide, came off the end of it and slipped and went back. I mean, tapped his head on the slide. I started kicking the slide. I mean, I've not got anger issues. But I nearly broke my foot. I was like, because this, like it hurt myself.
Yeah.
You walked away going, what am I doing? It's not the slide's fault. Stupid kids.
I'll wake up.
You can't even walk in the grass. But no,
that would be the best Pap moment of all time.
Yeah, just you booting a slide.
Slide.
He's lost the plot.
He's lost it completely. That's gone, yeah. But so for me, yeah, I'm in complete agreement. I worry about everything.
Yeah. If there's a swimming pool anywhere, I'll wake up. Like if we stay in my auntie's house and she had a pool, and I'd just be soaking in the middle of the night. I'd be like, Spenny, go check the doors. I'm locked. Just check it's locked. Just because I just start worrying about it if there's a pool anywhere. What would you say are the unexpected challenges?
Oh, I don't know. I think every day comes with its new challenge. I mean, I had quite a serious one. So Edward had to have an operation when he was quite a young. I think he was about 18 months.
Oh.
And you just don't think about stuff like that. You think like it's such a hard journey. The whole thing's hard. Raising a kid's hard. But then for them and he had to be knocked out. So we went in and we just thought it was going to be, quick thing. And the doctor's like, so bring him in and hold the mask over his face. And I was like, say that, what? And then I just hold him. And if he screams, that's good because the gas smells funny. And he'll just go, like, the louder he screams, it means he's taking more air in. And, you're like, what are you talking about? So anyway, it was, he needed to have the operation. So I did it. And then they were like, just put him on the bed and say goodbye. That is what the nurse said to me. I was like, whoa. I'm not going to say goodbye. That would make me nearly cry. I don't think I'm going to say goodbye. I mean, can I, and then they were like, you need to go now because this stuff was only going to keep him unconscious for a bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. But so that for me is a challenge. Like going back to the, no wonder I'm worried about this slide. You know what I mean? And seeing him go through that. But yeah, anything like that is heartbreaking. But
yeah, what about you, Ollie?
I thought it was going to be getting black cabs, but actually, all right, because I was like, how are we fitting a double pram into a black cab? Turns out, even the old school ones, they fit in perfectly. You can get
the
in.
donkey. Do you have the donkey?
The donkey.
The donkey's brilliant.
And it's very good.
It's one of the smallest ones you can get.
Well, we haven't had trouble going through a doorway yet. That's actually quite...
Don't they get through a doorway as well? We had a donkey at one point.
Yeah,
I'm sure they even go through a door. You look at me and go, there's no way that is going through a normal door.
It's amazing.
Well, thank you both so much. I love that chat.
Thank you.
That was wonderful.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
And that's the end of another fantastic episode of Taboo Talk. We really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much to my amazing guests, Ollie Locke and James By. If you enjoyed this ep, please do rate, review and subscribe. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, please do like, comment and subscribe because it really helps.